Open the cupboard under your kitchen sink. Go on while we talk. Look at what is standing in there. A bottle for the glass, a different bottle for the floor, one for the bathroom, one for the steel, one for the wood, one that smells of a lemon that never grew on any tree. Half of them used once, all of them perfumed, all of them bought. Now I want you to picture another cupboard. My grandmother's in an old wooden farmhouse up in the mountains of Nagano, where I was raised. Cold winters, a rainy season that tried to grow mold on everything we owned. And under her sink, almost nothing. A little salt, a jar of something cloudy, some old newspaper. That was all. And her home was cleaner than mine has ever been with all my bottles. So, let me show you how. My name is Maya Sato. I am 58 years old, and I have kept a home the old Japanese way my whole life, the way my Oba-chan, my grandmother, taught me, standing at her elbow before I was tall enough to see over the counter. I am not a scientist. I have no certificate to wave at you. What I have is 50 years of doing this in a real house with real damp and real mess. I have not bought a bottle of glass cleaner in over 30 years, or floor cleaner, or most of what fills that cupboard of yours. Not because I am proud, because I was taught, very young, that the thing you are about to throw away is usually the very tool you needed. We have a word for it. Mottainai, quiet regret of waste. So today I am going to give you 20 of them. 20 ways the old Japanese homes kept a house spotless with what was already in the kitchen, for pennies, or for nothing at all. Some you will know. Most, I think, you will not. We will start with the floors and the glass, move through the kitchen and the metal and the smells, and into the damp and the mold, which here in Japan we treat very differently than you might expect. And I will explain why. And the very last one, number 20, is the oldest of them all. 800 years old, maybe more. Almost no one outside the old farmhouses still knows it. It came off the trees in my grandmother's own yard. So stay with me to the end for that one. I will also tell you honestly where each of these stops working, because every one of them has a limit. And the people selling you the bottles would much rather you never learned either thing, not the cheap trick, and not its honest edge. We will get to why. Write a few of these down. Try one this Sunday. Let us begin. Now, before the first one, I want to fix the one idea that gets the whole thing wrong. Here is what the modern world taught you. It taught you that to clean is to add something. You add a product, you add a spray, you add a smell, a bright chemical lemon, and when your nose catches that smell, you think, ah, now it is clean. Clean became a thing you buy and apply. But that is not what clean is. Not really. In my grandmother's house, cleaning was almost the opposite. It was not adding. It was removing, and it was reusing. You remove the dirt, yes, but more than that, in our climate, you remove the damp. You remove the smell at its source, and you use the things already in your two hands. The tea leaves from the morning pot, the cloudy water left from rinsing the rice, the peel of the mandarin you just ate, the water still warm in the bath, none of it bought, none of it thrown away. And that perfumed clean smell you were taught to trust? I will be honest with you. A truly clean home barely smells of anything at all. That lemon fresh scent is not the smell of clean. It is a habit trained into your nose. So you will keep buying the thing that makes it. So as we go through these 20, watch for the pattern. Almost everyone takes something you were about to pour down the drain or drop in the bin and turns it into the tool. That is modinai. Stop adding to your home to clean it. Start using what is already in your hands. Good. Now, the first one. 1. Used green tea leaves. Most mornings after the pot, you have a little heap of wet green tea leaves you're about to throw away. Don't. This is one of the oldest tricks we have. Take those damp leaves and scatter them lightly over a tatami mat or a wooden floor, and then sweep. Here is why it works. A dry broom on a dry floor just lifts the fine dust into the air and drops it again 2 feet over. The damp leaves catch that fine dust and the hair and hold it, so it leaves with the leaves instead of flying. The tea also faintly takes the staleness out of a room. And dry the spent leaves on a saucer and they become a quiet little deodorizer for a drawer or the shoe cupboard. One honest thing. Dry them fully first, or they will go moldy on you. 2. Newspaper for the glass. Throw away your paper towels for windows. Truly. Take a sheet of newspaper, crumple it into a loose ball, dampen it with just a little water, or even better with that rice water I'm coming to in a moment, and wipe the glass, then buff it dry with a second dry ball of paper. Streakless. Mirror bright. Why does old newsprint beat a paper towel? Because paper towel leaves a faint lint, those little white fibers, and newsprint does not. It is lint-free and it is thirsty. It drinks the moisture as you go. My grandmother did every window in the house this way twice a year. One small caution. Keep the inky paper off pale, porous surfaces, or the ink can mark them. 3. The water you rinse your rice in. When you wash rice, that cloudy white water, most of you pour it straight down the drain. In Tokyo, they will actually ask you not to. They ask you to pour it on the garden instead, because it feeds the plants. But before that, it cleans. Throw away the very first rinse. Keep the second and the third, the cloudy ones. That water carries a little starch and a faint oil, mildly acidic, gently polishing. Wipe it over a wooden floor, the bath, the sink, the tiles, and it leaves a soft, natural shine. No spray, no smell. Soak cloudy old glass or earthenware in it for half an hour and it clears and freshens. It keeps a few days in the fridge, its limit. It is a gentle shine, not a degreaser, and do not pour too much on your plants. The starch can draw insects. 4. Salt on the cutting board. Your wooden cutting board holds onto stains and onto the smell of fish and garlic, deep in the grain where soap does not reach. So reach for salt. Tip a spoon of coarse salt straight onto the damp board. Take half a cut lemon and scrub the salt as the scouring grit, the lemon's acid lifting the stain and cutting the odor. Let it sit 5 minutes. Then rinse it well with hot water, all of it, so no salt is left to find its way into tomorrow's food. Then, and this is the part people skip, rub in a little oil and let it drink overnight, so the wood does not dry and crack. Honest limit. This freshens and scours, but it is not a hospital disinfectant. For raw chicken and the like, wash properly. 5. Salt and citrus on tarnished metal. Those same 2 humble things, salt and a lemon, do something that looks almost like magic on tarnished copper and brass. If you have an old copper pot or a brass handle gone dull and brown, cut the lemon, dip the cut face in salt, and rub. You will watch the brown lift and the shine come back under your hand in seconds. It is not magic, it is plain chemistry. The acid loosens the tarnish, the salt scours it away, and neither one scratches the metal. Rinse it the moment you are done and dry it at once, or you only trade tarnish for water spots. The limit is simple and honest. It is for surface tarnish, not deep corrosion, and not for lacquered metal. So test a hidden corner first. 6. Baking soda for the burnt pot. We all do it. You turn your back, and dinner welds itself to the bottom of the pot. Before you fight it with a blade, reach for yuso, baking soda, which is in every Japanese kitchen. Make a thick paste, a 1/4 cup of it with just enough water. Spread it over the burnt black, and leave it an hour or 2. The mild alkali and the soft grit between them break the burnt carbon's grip on the metal, and most of it lifts away with a gentle pad. No scratching, no harsh fumes. That same paste, by the way, scrubs a sink, deodorizes the fridge, freshens a bin. One honest line, For very old, baked hard scorch, you may need a second go. Patience does the work, not force. 7. Citric acid for the kettle, the taps, and the toilet. Here is the one most people are missing entirely. That cloudy white crust on your kettle, the chalky ring around the tap, the stubborn line in the toilet bowl, that is mineral scale. And baking soda will never touch it because scale needs an acid, not an alkali. So we keep its partner in the cupboard. Guensan, citric acid, a spoon of white powder. Dissolve a couple of spoons in warm water, run it through the kettle, or wipe it onto the taps, or pour it in the bowl and leave it, and the scale softens and wipes away. It is the exact thing the alkaline cleaners cannot do. And the safety line here truly matters, so listen. Never ever mix any acid with chlorine bleach. The gas it makes is dangerous, and keep acid off marble and natural stone. 8. 2 buckets, not 1. When you wash a floor by hand the old way, with a cloth, most people use 1 bucket. And so halfway through, they are painting the floor with gray water, washing the dirt around, not off. The fix is almost too simple. Use 2. 1 bucket with your wash water, 1 with plain clean rinse water. Wet the cloth in the wash bucket, clean a small patch, then rinse the cloth in the clean bucket before you load it again, so the dirt leaves the cloth instead of going back onto the floor. Work from the far corner toward the door so you never kneel on what you have just done. It is a little more set up, and it is the whole difference between a floor that looks clean and one that is. 9. Always clean from the top down. This one costs nothing and saves you half your work. Whatever room you are cleaning, start high and end low. The high shelf, the tops of the frames, the light first, the floor last, because dust falls. Gravity is on your side only if you let it. If you do the floor first and the shelves after, every speck you disturb up high drifts down onto your clean floor, and you have done it twice. We think of cleaning as soji, not a chore you blast away, but a small, ordered, daily attention. An order means top to bottom, sweep before you wipe, high before low, every time. 10. A stick of charcoal. Open your fridge. Is there a little tub of baking soda in there to kill the smell? Put a piece of charcoal in instead. Not barbecue briquettes, real high-fired charcoal, binchetan, or any activated charcoal. It is riddled with millions of tiny pores, far more surface than you would believe, and that surface quietly drinks up both odor and damp from the air around it. A stick in the fridge, in the shoe cupboard, in a stale closet, in a drawer. It works in silence for months, and when it seems tired, you boil it or dry it in the sun, and it comes back to life and serves again. Just keep it dry to keep it working. Wet charcoal cannot breathe. 11. The dry cloth. I want to tell you something the furniture polish makers will not. You are very likely over-polishing your wood. All that spray polish builds up, traps dust, and slowly dulls the very shine it promised. In the old houses, we had a different way, and it is just a dry cloth. Karabuki, we call it. Dry wiping. You take a soft, clean, dry cloth, and you buff the wood, the floor, the table, the pillar, the stair rail, with a little patience and the warmth of your own hand. The wood comes up to a deep, soft glow. And that glow is the wood itself, not a film sitting on top of it. The pillars in old farmhouses shine like that after generations of hands and dry cloths. No bottle, the honest limit. Very dry. Thirsty old wood may want a little real oil now and then, but far less often than you have been sold. 12. The peel of your mandarin. Do not throw the peel away. When you finish a mandarin, a mikan, that peel is a free degreaser and a free air freshener both. The oil in citrus peel cuts grease. It is the same family of thing the green kitchen sprays are built on, only it is already in your hand. Wipe a greasy stovetop with the inside of the peel, or drop the peels in a pot of water and let them simmer and the kitchen smells of real citrus, not a chemical copy of it. Drop a little down the kitchen drain with hot water to freshen it, and the peel dried, which we call chinpi, is a fragrant thing to add to a hot bath. One caution: citrus oil can soften some plastics finishes, so try a small hidden spot first. 13. Yesterday's coffee grounds. If you drink coffee, you make a free deodorizer every single morning. The used grounds, once you dry them out properly, are porous like that charcoal, and they pull smells right out of the air. Dry them flat on a tray until there is no moisture left, and set them in a little dish in the fridge or in the shoe cupboard or near the bin. They quietly take odor away. You can dig them into the garden soil after too. One thing you must not skip: dry them completely. Damp coffee grounds in a warm cupboard will grow mold, and then you have made the problem worse, not better. 14. Diatomaceous earth. This one is in nearly every modern Japanese bathroom now, and the West has barely noticed it. Keisodo, we call it, diatomaceous earth, and it is a soft stone made of fossilized algae, and it drinks water on contact instantly. You will have seen the bath mat that dries your feet the moment you step off it. No soggy cloth at all. That is keisodo. The same stone, loose, sits in a closet or a cupboard and pulls the damp out of the air to keep mold from ever starting. 2 safety lines, because they matter. Do not breathe the fine dust. Open a window when you handle the loose powder. And if you ever use it loose, it must be the food-grade kind. Never the sort sold for pool filters. 15. The real way we fight mold. Now we come to the damp, and this is where Japan does it differently. So listen closely, because I think the West fights this battle backwards. When you see black mold in the corner or smell that musty closet, what do you reach for? A spray. You attack the mold you can see, but mold is not really a dirt problem. It is, a moisture problem. Kill the spots you can see and do nothing about the damp, and it simply comes back next week. So we go at the water, not the stain. We move air, open windows on opposite sides of the house and let it flow through. Open the closet doors. Do not let still. Wet air, just sit. We put the damp drinkers to work, the charcoal, the newspaper, the keisodo, right inside the closets and the drawers. And we air things out in the dry spell of late summer. We call it mushiboshi, taking the bedding and the clothes and the books out into the sun to drive the damp and the insects out before we put them away. Clean the mold you have, yes. But then take away the water that fed it, and it does not return. And the honest part, heavy mold, especially where people sleep and breathe, can need a professional. Do not just paint over that one. 16. Newspaper in your shoes. Back to that humble newspaper. Your shoes, at the end of a wet day, are damp inside, and that damp is exactly what breeds the smell. So before bed, crumple a sheet or 2 of newspaper and stuff it firmly down into each shoe overnight. The paper is thirsty. It pulls the moisture out as you sleep and takes the odor with it, and in the morning the shoes are dry and fresh. A small piece of that charcoal left in your everyday shoes does the same quiet work between wearings. It costs you a sheet of paper you had already read. That is the whole price. 17. The cast iron pan. If you have an iron pan, you may have been treating it like an enemy. Here in Japan, we make some of the finest ironware in the world, nanbuteki, from up in the north, and it is meant to last a lifetime, handed down, if you treat it right. And the rule is the reverse of what you do to everything else. Do not scrub it with harsh soap, and never leave it to soak, because water is iron's one true enemy. After cooking, wipe it clean. Warm it dry over the flame so not a single drop is left, and rub the thinnest film of oil over it. And if rust ever does take hold, you do not throw the pan away. You wipe it with vinegar, which dissolves the rust. Scrub back to clean metal, dry it, and oil it again. Treated so, that pan outlives you. 18. A bag of rice bran. When rice is milled, the bran that comes off which we call nuka, was never wasted in the old kitchen. Most of you, if you know it at all, know it as the bed for pickles, the nukazuke, and yes, it turns cheap vegetables into something wonderful. But before the fridge, a little cloth bag of nuka was also a scrubber. It is mildly gritty and a little oily, and damp in its bag it was used to wipe down wooden boards and floors, and even the skin, leaving the wood faintly conditioned as it went. It is gentle, old, and entirely free with the rice you are already cooking. If you do keep a pickle bed, the honest part is that it is a living thing. You must turn it and tend it, or it spoils. 19. The leftover bath water. In Japan, we soak in the evening bath, but the body is washed first, outside the tub, so the water in the tub at the end is still warm and barely used at all. And to pour all of that away would be to my grandmother almost a sin. Motai nai, so we use it. Many of our washing machines have a little pump made for exactly this. You draw the night's bath water across to do the morning wash, and warm water washes better than cold besides. And what is left over cleans the floors or waters the garden. Over a year, that is a great deal of water and money saved for no real effort at all. The honest line. Use it for the wash, not the final rinse. And do not reuse the water if someone in the house has been unwell. And now, the last one, the one I promised you, the oldest of them all. In the yard of my grandmother's farmhouse stood a persimmon tree, a kaki tree, and in the autumn it hung heavy with orange fruit, and I can still feel the cold sweetness of it in my mouth on a sharp morning. But my Oba-chan also did something with the green, unripe fruit that almost no one outside the old houses remembers anymore. She pressed them and let the juice ferment into a brown liquid called kakishibu, persimmon tannin. People have made it in Japan for 800 years, perhaps longer, and what it does is remarkable and entirely real. It is full of tannins, and those tannins neutralize the sulfur compounds behind the very worst, deepest smells, even the particular stale smell of age in a house. It is antibacterial. It repels water, and it repels insects. The old craftsmen brushed it onto wood and cloth and washi paper to seal it, protect it, waterproof it, and it is still painted onto fine woodwork today. A natural sealer and deodorizer. Off a tree in the yard, 1,000 years before the chemical bottle. Now, I will be honest with you because I always will be. Kakishibu stains. It leaves a permanent tan brown. So you wear gloves and protect what is underneath. And for your skin, you use a soap made for skin. Never the raw liquid, but that brown is the color of something real and old and very nearly lost. And that is exactly why I wanted to end here. I want to stop now and be very honest with you the way I would want someone to be honest with me, because none of these is magic, and anyone who tells you a home trick is magic is selling you something. So here is the plain truth of it. These old ways are gentle. That is their gift, and that is also their limit. They are wonderful for the everyday, the daily dust, the light grease, the ordinary smell, the keeping of damp at bay before it ever becomes a problem. They are care, repeated. What they are not is a heavy industrial rescue, a truly filthy oven, a deep grease no one has touched in years, a serious mold that has gotten into the walls where you sleep. For those, sometimes you really do need stronger help or a professional, and I will never pretend otherwise. The rice water shines your glass. It will not save badly stained old grout, so know what each thing is for. And let me say the safety part clearly, because I care more about your home than about sounding clever. Never mix an acid, the vinegar, the citric acid, with chlorine bleach. Together they make a gas that can truly hurt you. Keep those acids off marble and natural stone, which they will etch and scar. With the diatomaceous earth and any fine powder, open a window and do not breathe the dust. Dry your tea leaves and your coffee grounds fully before you store them, or you grow mold where you meant to fight it. And anything new on a surface you care about, test it first. In a corner no one sees. Gentle does not mean careless. Honesty like this is not the weak part of the old way. It is the strong part. It is the difference between a trick and the truth. So let me ask the question I have been holding all this time. If these things are this good and this cheap and this old, why did no one ever teach them to you? I do not think it was an accident. Look back at what we use today. Tea leaves you already had. Rice water you were pouring away. The peel of your fruit. The water in your bath. Salt, newspaper, charcoal, a dry cloth. Almost every one of them is something free or something you owned already or something you were about to throw out. And there, I think, is your answer. There is no money in any of it. You cannot build a company on a thing a person already has under the sink. You cannot sell a refill of a mandarin peel. So somewhere along the way, as the bottles arrived, a different perfumed bottle for every single surface, each one needing buying again next month, these old ways were quietly allowed to be forgotten, not banned, just made to seem old-fashioned and a little embarrassing and slow, while the bright new bottle seemed modern and clean. The makers did not even have to lie to you. They only had to sell you the smell and let you forget you ever knew another way. I am not angry about it. Mostly, I just feel the loss of it. That a whole generation of quiet, capable knowledge, the kind my Oba-chan carried in her hands without a single bottle, was let go in 1 or 2 generations, traded away for convenience and a chemical lemon. That is the sad part. But here is the better part, and the reason I sit and talk to you like this. It is not lost while someone still tells it. You cannot unknow it now. It is back in your hands, where it always belonged. So this week, do not try all 20. Just pick 3. Maybe save your morning tea leaves and sweep with them once. Crumple some newspaper and do 1 window, and watch the shine come up. Put a piece of charcoal in your fridge tonight and forget about it. Small things. Start there. Then do 1 more thing for me. In the comments, tell me where you live, and tell me the one thing your home struggles with most. Is it the damp? Is it a smell in a certain room? Is it a grease you cannot win against? Is it the cold or the heat? Tell me your climate and your trouble. I read every single one, truly. And what you tell me there is how I choose what to show you next. And since today we touch the damp and the mold and that long war with moisture, next time I want to take you all the way into the closet, into the rainy season, the suyu, and show you exactly how my grandmother kept the cupboards and the bedding dry through weeks of wet air when everything in the house wanted to grow mold. The old ways for the dampest weeks of the year. I think you will want that one. Until then, remember the heart of all of it. The people who kept a home with their hands before everything came in a bottle. New things we are only now beginning to remember. And nothing in a home, not the tea leaf, not the rice water, not the peel, not the last warm water in the bath. Nothing is ever truly waste. Until next time, waste nothing. Take care of your home, and it will take care of you.